Well, hello everybody, welcome back to Dainty Gift School of Decor and Decoupage. In today's episode of Craft With Me, and it has been a long time since we've done one of these and I miss talking to you guys very much. So I'm very excited for this episode of Craft With Me. Here's what I prepared for this project. So as you can see, I have some clay tiles, maybe? You could call them tiles. I have a laser printed image, so as you can see, again, I once again already had to cut one of these images out. You'll see it in just a little bit. I had to cut it out to be able to make the tiles to the size. And we have some canvas as well, so this is a pre-primed canvas that I bought from Hobbycraft. So once again, as it happens very often in these episodes of Craft With Me, I have a general idea of how we're gonna put things together and some things that I want to use, but I don't really know where exactly this is gonna go. So grab a cup of tea or a coffee or a snack or anything else and join me for this episode of Craft With Me. Okay, so once again, here we are. So let me quickly talk you through what I have here. So once again, I have a canvas board, so this is A4 format. I have these little clay tiles that I made. I have a separate tile making video on YouTube if you wanted to check it out. I'll try and remember to put it in the links. If not, just type in Dainty Gifts clay tiles and it should come up. But let me quickly kind of talk you through. So basically I took Das air drying clay, I rolled it out into a thin piece about, I don't know, 2 millimeters thick, and then I took one of my images that I'm planning to use and I placed it onto my roll of clay, and using a clay tool I traced around it and just cut the clay out and then set it to dry. So very simple, very easy. So I have not done anything to these tiles at all. So next I have the images themselves. If you've never heard of them, they are an online library of these kind of vintage and all sorts of like digital images basically in different sizes and shapes, specifically designed for people that do decoupage, scrapbooking, mixed media, journals, things like that. So there's all sorts of images. I really like these ones, so I went ahead and I printed them out at my local printing shop, so using a laser printer. Also, if you are interested, then be sure to check these guys out. So Digital Collage Club, I have links in my description of this video, along with some discount codes that you can use if you wanted to sign up. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to cut these images out and decoupage them onto my tiles. So I've cut the images out. Now I'm going to set these on this very crinkled plastic sheet, but it's okay, it'll do the job. And I'm spraying them with water. Water helps the paper expand to how it's going to expand when you apply water-based glue onto it anyways. So it makes the application process easier and lets you avoid any wrinkles and possible air bubbles. And it also allows the glue to kind of seep through the paper a little bit better, so it ensures that when you go ahead and you decoupage them on, the images are actually going to be decoupaged on really well. Okay, so I'm just going to dab the excess water away from them, because they are laser printed images on kind of thin office paper, so you don't want to let them sit in there for too long so that they don't kind of fall apart. And next I'm going to take some Mod Podge and a brush, and straight away I take one of my tiles and I apply glue directly onto the clay. So my clay is white, so I don't need to do anything to it, I don't need to paint it, but if your clay dries out to be like a different color, then you should paint it white before you decoupage, so that the colors on the image don't kind of get warped and stuff by the background color. Okay, so the image is on. I'm just dabbing it down a little bit to make sure that it's all on everywhere. And now I apply another coat of Mod Podge over the top and I set it to the side to dry. And straight away I'm moving on to the next one. Alright, so I've decoupaged on all 4 of my tiles. So now I'm going to leave them to dry, and while they're kind of setting and drying, we're going to take care of the actual canvas. So the idea that I have in my head is that we're going to be placing these tiles horizontally, so it's going to be a horizontal canvas kind of sort of a bit like so. So I don't know how exactly we're going to place them at the moment, if we're going to place them kind of, you know, at different levels, or we're going to place them all at the same height. I don't know, but anyways, let's move on to the next step. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to apply a base color of paint for my canvas, because after that what we're going to do is we're going to apply some raised stencil over here. So before we go ahead and we apply the raised stencil, I want to put some base color on. So this is a mix of chalk and acrylic paint that I have left over from my decoupage bottle video that just came out last week. So this is the paint that I used. As you can see, I still have plenty left over and it needs to be used up, so this is the color that we're gonna go with. And I just take a brush and start smearing it on. I'm not trying to give it like a full coverage, so there are a few streaks where the color's not like fully mixed together. And that is absolutely fine, because we're going to be doing the raised stencils, we're going to do some distressing and all sorts as always, so you know, there's going to be a lot going on anyways. Alright, the first coat is on, so I'm going to get my hairdryer out and get this thing dry. So here we are, the canvas is all fully dry, so as you can see now, you can see like the streaks a little bit more, which is absolutely fine in my opinion. So now we're ready to apply our raised stencil effect. So I'm going to use this Finnabar stencil. This is called Tapestry, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm also going to use Finnabar's icing paste in old silver. This is basically like a modeling paste, but in like this gorgeous blue silver color. Now it is shiny and I don't want it to be too shiny, so to fix that we're later going to apply some clear gesso by Finnabar again, which dries to a completely matte finish. So I just lined it up and I'm going to go ahead and just kind of spread it out. And now I'm just going to scrape some of this excess off and put it back into the jar. And let's take it off and see what we've got. Ta-da-da-da! Isn't it gorgeous? Right, so I'm going to quickly run and wash my stencil, and then we're going to clean up these edges and we're going to finish the stencil. Okay, the stencil is clean, so I'm just going to take a cloth and I'll wrap it around my finger and clean this edge away. Fold it in and then clean this edge away. Right, so ideally I do want to let this stencil dry for a few minutes, just so that I can place the stencil over it and then, you know, align it and not smudge all of this. So I'm just going to get my hairdryer on for a couple of minutes and get this to harden up a little bit. Okay, here we are. So I wouldn't count this as dry by any means, but it is touch dry. So this will do for us. So I'm just going to try and align the stencil as best as I can with the pattern that I have going on here, and quickly apply my paste to the other side. Here's something that I wanted to say. I know you guys have been messaging me, a lot of you have been leaving comments that you really miss my voiceovers and everything, and I miss them too. I miss talking to you guys, I miss talking through the videos and explaining the thought process and all of the ups and downs that I had like through the project and everything. But honestly, I've just been so busy over like the past month. I barely have time to just like sit down and do anything anymore. So I am sorry that, you know, the voiceovers are a bit kind of taking the backstage, but hopefully in the new year, you know, I'm gonna try and do as many of them as I possibly can. Again, I'm just gonna go wash off the stencil before I carry on. I'll be right back. So yeah, like I said, again, right now there's a lot of stuff going on, and I am kind of here and there and everywhere, and I am doing a lot of lives. So as some of you may have already seen, I now do online workshops. I always announce them here on YouTube as well. I do a separate video, so if you haven't seen them, go ahead and have a look in my video library, and when I have the next one, you know, make sure that you have your notifications turned on, or you can subscribe to my newsletter on my website, and then you'll get notified whenever I have a new workshop coming up. And I'm also doing lives in various Facebook groups with some of my design team members for Decoupage Queens, so I always announce them here on YouTube in the community posts, and I announce them on my Instagram and Facebook. I'm also going to be doing quite a few live streams for Redesign with Prima together with Finnebaum in the Redesign with Prima group on Facebook. Again, if you want to kind of keep up with that, make sure that you follow me on one of the social medias, so Instagram or Facebook, and I always announce them there. So if you want to make sure that you don't miss out on what I'm doing or where you can catch me, then make sure that you follow me on social media. So anyway, so that's the stenciling done on our board. So as you can see, really, really pretty, lovely colours. You can really see where, like on this side, the paste is kind of almost dry, and on this side it's very wet, so it's or at least I can really see like the color difference is quite big. Like this side has a bit more blue tint to it, whereas this one, now that it's dry, it's a lot more silvery. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to take care of our decoupage tiles. So they are touch dry, but they still feel a little bit cold, so they're still a little bit damp. So I'm just going to get my hairdryer out once again, get them fully dry, and we'll sand off the edges and kind of tidy them up. Alrighty, the tiles are ready. So again, I've got some sandpaper here, and I'm just going to do this and get rid of all of these excess edges, and at the same time it also gives me a chance to kind of round off some of these edges on the tiles that I may not like that much, make them a little bit more even. So I'll see you in a bit when all of this is done. Woohoo! All done. So I've sanded off all of the edges, so as you can see, my little tiles are starting to look a little bit more neat. So once again, I'm using Special Effects Wax by Liberon in black. So this is just patinating wax, and I pick it up with my finger like this with a cloth, and I start rubbing it onto my tiles, and I'm kind of going over the edge of the paper as well here, and it creates a really lovely faded effect. I must say, all of that Mod Podge has made my tiles very bendy. I don't know how or why, but for some reason they have now become very, very flexible, which I guess is going to be a good thing when we go to glue them down. So just like this, I'm going to go over all of these edges. Okay, let's see what we're working with. So this is kind of the general gist of where we're going with this at the moment. And I think I'm gonna leave these tiles kind of in the middle. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is I want to apply some of this clear transparent gesso over our silver stencils. So this is going to make this a little bit more matte, so it's going to take away some of this shine. Okay, the gel is almost dry, so you may be able to see that there are a few spots where you can still see the white, but for the most part we just have a nice grey stencil now on here. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to glue on our tiles onto here, and to glue them on I'm going to use 3D gloss gel, These tiles are quite light, so the gel should do absolutely fine. Alternatively, you could use filler paste, or you could use something like No More Nails to glue these down, or PVA glue. There's a lot of different things that you can use for these. I think we're gonna go with just kind of squashing it down so that it stays in place. And while I'm waiting for the gel to set, so this is what we're looking at the moment. Let's see if I can, there you go. So this is what we're looking at the moment. While we're waiting for the gel to set, I'm gonna take some white chalk paint. This is from Wilko's, and it's just their own chalk paint. And I'm gonna use a natural bristle brush, and I'm gonna just pick up some paint, and I'm going to apply it onto the corners. So as you can see, usually when I'm doing dry brushing, I would wipe down the excess before I take my brush to the canvas, but this time I just pick up the paint and I slab it on into the corner because I want it to be quite heavy in the corners. So I'm trying to create like a snowed in look, so I want the corners to be a little bit more heavier coverage, so by the time I'm getting down it kind of naturally drags down a little bit more. And so here I'm gonna start going like so. Okay, this is where we are right now. So as you can see, very snowed in. So I did go over a little bit heavier than what I initially intended, but oh well, that's just what happens. So now let's think about what we're going to add next. Okay, I know what we're going to do next. We're going to add some art stones. So here I have some mega art stones and I have some mini art stones. I think we're just going to go for mini art stones. To glue them down, I'm once again going to use some 3D gloss gel. So I'm just going to take, what am I going to take? I'm going to take a palette knife and we're going to add some art stones to the top and we're going to trickle them down. So I'm going to take a spatula for now and I'm just applying some gel over here. It's also going to help us add some texture, so I'm placing it on quite generously like so, and so I'm just guiding it down in between my tiles like so. I'm going over a few pieces here and there. Okay, this is what I'm looking at the moment. This top is starting to become a little bit heavy now, getting some weight. And I'm going to take, in fact, we will add some mega art stones as well here in the thicker bits. So I'm just putting these little stones inside here and there. These are basically like, they are shaped like stones, but they are very, very, very light, so I have no idea what they are made out of, but they are perfect for these kind of projects. Got some mini ones which are basically, they are tiny. Whoops. These literally spill out everywhere. The amount of times that I've spilled these already. Oh well, we've got a big cluster here. Shake them down a little bit. For those of you that may not be clued in on kind of why am I using so many Finnabar products and stuff like that, I am now on Finnabar design team, so I've been taking on you know, by Finnabar, by the person that kind of makes all of these products, to design projects for them. So this is why I've got so many of their products, because, you know, I have to create projects for them using their products. And now I'm just gonna take a brush and kind of lightly tap all of these in so that they kind of stick in a little bit better. Okay, this is what we're looking at the moment, and who am I kidding? There's no way that I'm gonna be able to finish this all off in one evening. So instead of trying to rush this and stuff, I'm just going to leave this and let this dry naturally until, I don't know, tomorrow night or whenever I'm gonna have a chance to sit down again. And okay friends, so everything that we applied is now fully dry. It's been 2 days now since I've applied this on, so everything is rock hard. It was rock hard like the next morning pretty much, but I didn't have the time to do this yesterday. So now we're gonna finish our canvas. So first thing that I'm gonna take is liquid acrylic by Finnabar. So this is very highly concentrated acrylic paint that needs to be watered down, and it kind of reminds me of watercolor in the way that you can work with it. And so I've got colors emerald and deep turquoise, and I'm just gonna put a tiny bit of each color onto my plate. So as you can see, when I put the color onto the plate, you can't really tell the color that well. They're very, very dark, very saturated, but then when I add a little bit of water into it, that's when the color comes out. So I'm gonna move this a little bit closer so you can see a little bit better, and then I'm gonna take a fluffy brush. I need something that's fluffy. I'll take this one, so this is just a fluffy acrylic brush, and I'm gonna pick up a little bit of this paint, and I'm gonna put it over all of the art stones and gel medium that we applied earlier, kind of like that. Again, I'm making it trickle down a little bit, and so I'm going to do the blue first here and there. So I've got two colors, so I'm going to be kind of mixing them up a little bit, and then I'll take a little bit of green and add it into the spots kind of in between the blue. So a little bit like this I've gone over with the turquoise and the green over the top parts, and so the idea that I have in my head for it at the moment is that I want this to look a bit like icicles, or like you know, give it a little bit more of an icy look. So that's why I've gone for the green and the blue, to give it a little bit of a tint in a way. And so next I'm going to go back to white chalk paint and a natural bristle brush. So I'm going to take a slightly smaller one, and this time I'm going to use my plate to clean off kind of the excess off onto, because I don't want it to be as heavy as we did it last time. I want to brush it over the tops of the stones. And again, this is where you're going to see some of them come away. Forgot to dry this. Haha. Completely forgot to give it, you know, allow it some time to dry out. So my brush has become blue now. We'll have to take a new one. Bear with me, I'll be right back. Alright, that's a little bit better. Let's try again. Hopefully this will be enough. And so I'm just going to brush this over the stones and the gel. Kind of highlighting it. No, these are still colouring, but oh well, we'll go ahead with it anyways. So again, when you're doing something like this, it's completely up to you how much of it you cover up, how much of it you leave here and there. So if you feel like you want to cover it up a little bit more, just use a little bit more paint, go over that place a couple more times and stuff. But so this is where you get to decide how much of this colour you see. Okay, so this is where we are with the canvas at the moment, and I do feel like we're missing something here on the bottom. So I like what we have going on at the top. I like how the snow kind of blends together with the tiles, but at the bottom feels a little bit exposed. So I'm just going to think for a minute of what we could do instead. Okay, what if we took two kind of slightly bigger bows, but not out of satin ribbon, but out of like something matte and aged, and added some vintage bows underneath here, kind of two, one here, one on the other side, like this. What do you think? I think I'm gonna go for it. It's just a random bow that I had lying around, so I think we're gonna add some bows here. So instead of using normal people's ribbon that comes on the roll, what I have here is I have this big giant cloth that I bought. This is a remnant from a fabric shop. My local fabric shop here, they always have like these, they have this section in their shop where they just kind of sell random cut-off bits and stuff like that, and it had this lovely piece of fabric in there, which is kind of which is just normal, I think, cotton fabric on one side, and then it is like velvety on the other side, so it's almost like velvet ribbon. So what I do is I basically take scissors and I cut off strips. These are the wrong scissors. Why are they on my desk? Okay, so I cut off a strip like that. I'm not too bothered about it being the same width all over. We're creating a vintage antique looking ribbon, so any kind of frilly bits, anything like that is only a bonus for us. Any kind of uneven parts. And this is great because it's a lot cheaper than actually buying ribbon on a roll. Okay, this might be a little bit too uneven here. This bit is thick. Alright, so I've got two strips of fabric, and I'm going to quickly make them into bows. Just tie them together. And I'm just making like the simplest bow possible, just in the same way that I tie my shoelaces. Is that about right? So I'm gonna, let's see how it's gonna look. Too big, right, so my bows are too big, so I'm just gonna loosen them up a little bit and then make them a tiny bit smaller. This is about right, so let's snip off the ends. Don't want the ends to be too long, so to get like a nice beveled end, I fold it in half and then I just cut it. Okay, so I have two bows. Now we need to age this thing a little bit, and we also need to age the rest of the canvas a little bit as well, because right now the images are very vintage and the rest of the canvas is very like bright and in your face. So what we're gonna do, so I think we'll take a little bit of dark wax, like this rusty brown. Let me see. I think it will be perfect for what we're doing. So I'm just taking a little bit of, this is matte wax by Iveta in rusty brown, and I just squeeze a little bit out onto my brush. This is once again a natural bristle brush, and then I go over some of these parts. Okay, so now I've realised that I should have added this wax before doing the white chalk paint. But never mind, we'll just go back over it. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the exact same thing to my bows. So I just use the wax and the brush and I'm holding it down and I just kind of apply wax following the direction of the bow. It kind of leaves some of the natural creases a little bit cleaner, giving it like a really nice effect, adding more dimension to it almost. I think when I put them on, I'm going to put them on asymmetrically, so one a little bit higher, and or should we add one here on top and another one on the bottom? Oh, okay, we'll figure this out later. So for now I'm just going to take my plate once again with that white acrylic paint and just go over some of these snowy bits once again, just to brighten them back up a little bit after the wax. There you go, that's a bit better. Right, now let's apply the bows. So I'm just going to use this all-purpose super glue thingy and just place the bows kind of wherever it goes. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to stand it up like this and then step aside for a minute and just have a look at it and think if it needs anything else. And there you go. I think I'm not going to be able to avoid it. I wanted to not use it today because I've literally used it on every single project that I've made in November at least. But this is Snowflake Paste by Finnabar, and this is currently the medium that I'm the most obsessed with because it just gives you this amazing snowy effect. And I was gonna try and avoid using it, but I just can't. I have to put some on. I just can't. I'm sorry. I swear to God, I'm not getting paid for this. I am obsessed with this product at the moment and there's nothing that I can do about it. So I'm just gonna add it over the top of everything. And then, I don't know, again, I thought, don't use glitter. You've used glitter too many times in this past month and I just can't. If I use Snowflake Paste, I have to add some glitter, don't I? I don't know. This project doesn't really call for glitter, so I might just... Oh, I don't know, you guys. I swear to God, this is... I don't know. I don't think I've ever been as obsessed with a product as I am with this Snowflake Paste before. It's just amazing. And there we go. Look at the difference that this has made. When I tell you that I am obsessed with this product, this was full. I received this jar in what, like mid-October. It's now, so I've had it just over a month. And like I'm almost halfway through. So, yeah. I'm not going to use glitter. I said I wasn't going to use Snowflake Paste. I ended up using it, but I'm not going to use glitter, so I'm just going to leave it as is. Now I need to set it to dry, and then once it's dry, you can touch it and do whatever. So this is the canvas that we created in this episode of Craft With Me. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode. It's been such a long time since I've done one of these, or since I've talked to you guys, so I definitely really enjoyed it. I hope that you're all doing really well. Once again, massive shout out to Digital Collage Club for these amazing images that I was able to download. So if you would like to have a look at these images, there's going to be a link in the description of this video. The first link in the description of this video is going to take you to the full list of all of the products used, and there's also going to be a code, and if you would like to get these images and sign up for Digital Collage Club, you know, get the membership with them, then make sure that you use the discount codes that I have there as well, and save yourself a little bit of money. For my question of the day for this episode of Craft With Me, I want you to tell me, what is your current obsession? Like, whether it's making something in particular, or if it's a specific product that you just can't stop using, like me, or if it's some kind of specific images that you're obsessed with at the moment. Do you have an obsession at the moment over anything? And if you do, then what is it? Because I know I usually go through these kind of different phases. I had a phase where I made everything in these kind of shades of blue. I had a phase where I made a lot of shabby chic. Right now I'm going through the snowy phase, so you know, it comes and goes, which I think I'm not done with the Snowflake Paste. If we just add a little bit of it over the bows, it's just going to tie the whole thing together so much more. Oh, there you go, some last minute additions. So yeah, I really hope that you enjoyed this episode of Craft With Me. Let me know your obsessions. The list of all products used, as I said, is going to be in the first link in the description of this video. As always, I'm sending lots of love from my house to yours, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!